Russians surprised with another first in the person of Alexei Leonov, who they say became the first man to walk around in space. The Soviets claim that during a flight with Pavel Belyayev, the 30-year-old colonel went for a stroll while their spacecraft orbited at a record height for such a flight. The takeoff was much like this earlier Russian shoot, but there was no indication from Russia that authenticated pictures of the event would be available. Red television broadcast pictures purporting to be the actual event. The blurred image was shown throughout Europe. According to the Soviets, Leonov prepared to exit the capsule about 90 minutes after the spaceship went into orbit. He left through a hatch with a 16-foot line attached and tumbled about in outer space for about 10 minutes. He then returned safely to the side of his companion. If the spectacular accomplishment is all that is claimed, Russia has moved ahead of the U.S. once more in the race for the moon. President Johnson sends to Congress a bill to reinforce the right to vote. With Attorney-General Nicholas Katzenbach, the President signs an accompanying letter to the legislators urging swift passage for the bill that would outlaw discriminatory practices. Then the Attorney General briefs the press on the salient features of the bill. It would give his office the power to appoint federal registrars in 6 southern states where literacy and other voter qualification tests are required. The bill's aim is to bring to fruition the goal of minority groups that have staged protests throughout the nation. This is a demonstration in Montgomery, Alabama, led by Dr. Martin Luther King. In contrast to the violence of many marches, this one is held peacefully with police blessing and under permit. The day before, the marchers had been dispersed by state troopers and sheriff's deputies when they marched without a permit. Today, troopers and deputies are absent. Only city police line the route of march. The parade passes through the heart of Montgomery, past the state capitol, to the county courthouse a mile from the starting point. The only sign of disorder was the blowing of horns by impatient motorists. Not a club was raised in anger. The throng later hears Dr. King summarize a meeting he had with the county sheriff. He said that they were near agreement on future demonstrations, and he saw peace in Montgomery. This was the slender, energetic teenage young man who became Egypt's ruler in 1936. In King Farouk, his people saw enlightened leadership, but disillusionment came quickly. Within 16 years, a prematurely aged king hurried into exile, ousted by army officers, horrified by the graft and corruption around the playboy ruler. He continued to live splendidly with his second wife, who bore him an heir. Later, she divorced him, and the former king played up and down the Riviera and in Rome's plush spots. He died while making his nightly rounds. When Saturday's millions cheer their football heroes from the sidelines, they owe much to one man whose concept of the game and how it should be played made him the mentor of modern football. He was Amos Alonzo Stagg, who is dead at the incredible age of 102 years. Mr. Stagg was named Coach of the Year when he was 82. He was then coach at the University of the Pacific after 40 years at the University of Chicago. He had refused a retirement post at Chicago, and like all young men, he went west at the age of 70. Mr. Stagg was heaped with honors through his long years. The nation honored him on his 90th birthday, and he was to continue active in football for 8 more years. At his 100th birthday party, it was noted that he was 7 years old when the first collegiate football game was played. The man who was older than football itself pioneered the forward pass to make the game what it is today. Amos Alonzo Stagg was the extraordinary man. The largest crowd in drag meet history jams the strip at Fremont, California to see the West Coast Championships decided among these roaring monsters. As you can see, they're all engine with masks to protect from fire. as the drivers shoot them down the quarter-mile course in the elimination trials. Don Garlits sets a track record in one heat as he hits nearly 206 miles an hour before his chute brings him to a stop. Drag racing is a mushrooming spectator sport, with top drivers like Mike Snively bringing out the crowds to see him tool his $10,000 missile down the 1,320-foot course. What this does to tires, they don't last more than 5 miles as they zoom down the strip against timers' clocks. In the final heat, Snively just noses out Don Garlits to win by an eyelash. Wonder what he does for excitement on his day off.